Hey folks, how are you today? It is Friday, July the 3rd. Markets are closed today, so we're going to do a little tape reading video, and I want to go over some of the action from yesterday, July the 2nd. And let's get right to it here. So we're going to take a look at how the market was trading here. I'm going to show you some examples of tape reading using the Jigsaw trading tools here. So just to give you a quick rundown before, in case you've never seen these tools before, just for information, on the blue side here, these are the bids. On the red side, these are the offers. In the middle, these are the contracts that are trading at each price right now in the current moment. And I often get rid of these numbers because basically over here, we're going to see them accumulate more, but eventually this starts to get too crowded, so I'll cut them out. Anyhow, and on the left side, we see the total volume for each price. Okay, so that's generally it. Now in this tape right here, I have any orders over 15 come into this tape right here. And up here, I have a block order tape, any orders over 75. Anyhow, so we're going to look at how the price reacts here as the market is opened yesterday. We're going to watch how the buyers and sellers are interacting. And we're going to see examples of aggressive buying in the morning. And then we're going to see it where the aggressive buying kind of stops. And then I'll show you a few more examples as the video progresses here. So let's take a look first. And there's a few interesting things right out the open of the market here that I noticed. So as soon as the market opens, we get some block buys. Take a look at this. There we go. You saw that right there? Look at these orders that just came in. All of these at 369. They're all different orders, but logically they're probably the same trader. So these are open market orders, and that's a lot of size right there, a lot of buys. Now, it doesn't necessarily mean anything. When you see big orders like this, it doesn't necessarily mean to buy it and trade in their direction. Because essentially it could mean anything, because people come into the futures market to hedge, to arbitrage trades, to do all kinds of different things. So just because you see a big buy, it doesn't mean anything. If you want to get conviction about trading in a certain direction, you want to see multiple large buys or sells one after another continuing, okay? And that's what's going to give you a directional bias. Anyways, let's take a look at what happens here. Now look at the contracts as they trade into these offers here. They're buying into the offers. We traded higher and then we came back lower, coming up to these 75s here, and then we trade lower. Now look at something right here. I'm going to pause it. Look at that. You see that at 67? There's a 400 sitting on the bid. That's really big for this contract. So keep an eye on that. It's interesting. So watch how this price trades here. You can see it kind of just chops. And we trade lower, but we didn't tag that 67 3/4, and we trade higher again. We're sort of accumulating on the bid, on the offers. The market doesn't have any real sense of direction. Remember, we traded as high as these 75s so far, and the highs being 81. So we're kind of just chopping, and we trade higher, and we're kind of rejecting that 73.50 again. Buyers are not so aggressive here. So watch this, watch this, watch this. Okay, look at how the price is coming back down now after testing these higher prices. Look at how it's coming down, approaching this 400 order. Look at how it trades here. Now we want to see, when we see an order like this, we want to see what happens regarding that order. Is the order going to trade or is it going to get pulled, right? So if you see a 400 on the bid and then it gets pulled, it means that somebody's gaming this. But if it trades, then it could mean something different. So let's see what happens. Look at this.
Block sell.
So the entire order traded. Look at that, in a block. In all these different orders, someone swept that bid. Now I have no idea what that means personally, but it's just interesting. And now you can see it printed right there. Look at that right there, 404 on that bid at 67.75. Somebody wanted to buy there and their order got filled in one shot. And again, if anybody has any insight into what this could mean, because I personally don't really know. When you see a big order like that fill, it could mean anything. Like I said, it could be a hedger, it could be an arbitrage trade, you know, it could be anything. Sometimes the futures traders look to sell the front month and buy the back month and do a calendar spread. Or, you know, it could be anything like that. It doesn't necessarily mean that that's a directional bet, but it's still interesting nonetheless. So now we see that the market's trading higher here. Watch the buyers coming up here. I want you to look at how the buyers are behaving here. So there, look at that. That's aggressive buying. That's where we just shoot and we just pop it. And now look at how the buyers are being aggressive here, trading into these 77s here. And it looks like we want to push. So there's pressure on the upside now. Look, we're trading into these contracts. We're trading a bit lower, then trading a bit higher. So you can see that the buyers are being kind of aggressive here. There, I refreshed my size. Look at that. They're hitting into those prices. Look at that. Boom, 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 boom. They're hitting into those 80s now. So that's an example of aggressive buyers right there. So we test the 81s. Now look at how it reacts on the pullback. So there's minimal selling. There's a couple of sell blocks coming in. But you can see that we're kind of holding it. The selling is not aggressive. Like you saw just now, that was an example of aggressive buying. Look at all these contracts that hit into the ask here. Now look at the contracts that are hitting into the bids on the way down. The selling is kind of relaxed. Sellers are not willing to step in front of this. and then we trade higher. Look at that. Boom. So we're accumulating size at these prices as we trade higher. Now watch, you see the sellers are trying to answer, but again, they're not aggressive. See, there's a bit of sell here, but I mean, compare it. Look at how thick the bid side is right here. You can see all these double digits, 50s, 40s, 30s, 50s, 20s, and over here we have a couple of those, but not nearly as much. So it tells you that sellers are not really interested in joining this market just yet. And what happens? We trade higher. There's still pressure on the upside, and we're trading higher. Up to the 90s. Again, 62. Look at those big offers getting swept there. And we're trading higher and higher and higher. So there you saw it kind of ticked a couple times to 93, and then it had trouble with it. Now we traded back under 90. But look at how it reacts when it trades lower. Look, there's not a lot of size picking up on the bids there, and we trade higher again. So this is an example of upside momentum, strong upside momentum right here. So pretty extended at this point here, and we'll see where we manage to top out. So look at now, just let's keep watching here. Now look at this. You can see how we're starting to accumulate a lot of size on this offer right here, this 118. So that becomes significant. It means that buyers are getting kind of absorbed into this area. So this is going to be significant. So let's watch this. Again, if we want to see this price continue to push, we want to see more aggressive buying. If we start seeing a lot of size accumulate on the ask and then we can't trade higher, that's a sign of absorption, which means that you don't want to be buying if the buys are getting absorbed into the ask, okay? So there we go. We try to trade lower a bit, trying to trade lower, and you can see that the bid side is starting to pick up a little bit here. So it means that sellers are starting to get interested, and we're trading higher still. Boom. See, there's the aggressive buyers. The aggressive buyers are still in the house. And we trade higher. But that time, look at how when we traded higher up to the 400s, we quickly traded back under it. So that's something notable right there. So that's an example of a rejection where we have a quickly trade at the price and then quickly trade lower. It means that after we had that impulsive move, there were no more buyers left to kind of keep that thing above 400. So let's watch how the price continues to react here. And again, this is all happening very fast. The market's only been open 4 minutes at this point. So we see sellers are starting to get interested a bit. But again, they're not that aggressive. You see, we're not seeing any block sales or anything. No one's sweeping the bids. Size is picking up, but again, we're not trading lower. So that's a sign that the sellers are not proving anything yet. And again, look at that. We're seeing aggressive buyers still. This 103. Buyers are hitting into those offers, right? And we're trading higher. We're hitting into the offers. Aggressive buyers still around. And you can see it's trying to trade lower. It can't quite do it. It's a battle. So now you can see we have attempted to trade below this 96 where there was a lot of buy accumulated here. So it makes sense that if we can't trade above that, if we reject that multiple times, that becomes pretty good for a short. And if we're going to see bids starting to get aggressive here, the sellers are starting to get aggressive, that makes sense. But we're going to look out for that. Are we going to see aggressive sellers or not? And you see we attempted it and now we traded back above it. So there we had it a bit and then we quickly traded higher. See, look at that bit of accumulation on the bid there, 120, and now we're trading higher. So I would buy that right there, buy. And we're trading much higher again, up into the 403s. We broke it by a couple of points, and it's getting rejected again. Ignore what's happening here. That's just me fooling around. So watch this order flow. We traded to 403, and now we're testing higher prices here. We're still trading higher. Hitting. But you see it's kind of stalling out. It's not as aggressive as before. We're hitting higher prices, but it's not as aggressive before. It's sort of inching up. There we go. It hit 405. And we're trading lower. Let's see. We're trading back into the 400s. So there you go right there. Bit of rejection. You saw how it was inching up there to that 405? Not exactly a sign of strength at that point. We're trading back into these areas where there's a lot of buys that accumulated on the ask here. So we want to see if they are going to come back to defend this area or not. And we're trading higher. Buyers are still in control. Boom. Traded higher, higher, higher. Buyers are hitting aggressively. Boom, that was an example of aggressive buying. So the aggressive buyers are back. We shot all the way to 408. Okay, now watch this. So that was 408. Now we traded to 409.50. One contract traded up there, and watch how it's ticking here, back and forth, back and forth. Could we trade higher or not, or is that it? And we're trading higher. Boom, 410. Here we go, higher prices, higher prices. And then, oh, there's a block sell right there. That came in at 406.75. Someone swept the bids here and sold 24 contracts. So it doesn't necessarily mean anything, but it's a sign that somebody decided to sell right here. That's it. And now we're seeing, watch this. And again, because of how aggressively this move was up, there's really a lack of meaningful support in any of this move, in my opinion. So if sellers decide to come answer this one day, then there's going to be a lack of meaningful support because buyers don't really have a clear area that they're looking to get long or buy this as a pullback if we get a pullback here. Now, let's take a look at what happens here. So you can see how we ticked up there to 410, and now we're trading lower back under 407 here, 406. And now, watch this. So just watch this right here, and you're going to see how the sellers start to get a little bit more aggressive. So watch the bids here, and we're trading lower, we're trading lower, we're trading lower, stalling, and we're trading lower, and we're trading lower. Ignore this. It's just me messing around. And we're stalling here again around this 402, around the 400. 400 is key area. Watch the bids around 400, and we're trading on. And boom. So you see, traders are hitting into those bids here. Again, it's probably a lot of retail. There's just a lack of demand up here. So there you can see a bit of absorption taking place around the 400. We're stalling around the 400. So if you're a seller in this market and you're trying to sell this, you want to see 400 get taken out pretty easily by the sellers. So here we go. We're trading 400. And keep in mind, this was an area, if you look at this profile here, you'll see this was an area where a lot of buy took place earlier. So it makes sense that if there was a lot of buy that took place at that price, if we're trading below it aggressively, some of that buy is going to have to convert and become a sell. All right? That's what's going to help push the market lower. So watch the 400 here. And you see that's me getting ready to take a sell there, but I think I was just messing around with my orders. Don't look at that. So we're trading under... trying to trade under 400 here, and then we hit it. So there's a bit of a battle here, and we're under 400 now. Under 400, there's no meaningful support here. Trying to hold 400. Can the buyers hold 400? No, they can't, and we traded lower. Look at this. Now watch the bids here. Watch the bids. Look at this size accumulating on the bids here. 395, and we want to see it trade lower. If the sellers are not being aggressive, there's no reason to sell this market. We want to see aggressive selling if you're going to be a short seller here. Watch the 395. And we're trading lower. So we want to see if the sellers can prove something. Down to 393. Look at that. Down to 390. So the sellers, you can see that there's a bit of a lack of demand here. Now, you saw how after this we kind of slowly managed to trade lower. There was a lack of demand during all of this move. Once we lost that 400, it was like a slow waterfall down to 390 and now under 390. Now watch how it reacts under 390, because remember, a lot of this buy liquidity here, the late buyers now are pretty much trapped. So if we keep moving down, if there's no support down here, then we could result in a free fall. Keep in mind. So we're always looking for that balance between the buyers and sellers and how aggressive they're being. So on the way down, we want to see aggressive selling if you're short. If you're not seeing aggressive selling, that's not the sign that you want to be short this market. So at this point, we're under here and we're trading lower aggressively. 85, 84, 83, 82. Look at that. 81, 80, under 80. Now look at this. In the 70s now. And you see there's a bit of size accumulating here in the 70s. And we're slowly trying to trade back up. Look at that. And now look at these buyers hitting in here. Boom. They hit all the way back up to 87, 88, 89. So that's an example of aggressive buying right there. You saw that? Let's rewind that and take a look at that one more time here. And we want to see how those buyers came in right around here. So look at how we traded down to 79-ish. So watch it trade lower. And again, I didn't refresh the current trades, but just look at how it trades here. We trade under 80. And we're accumulating some size around 79, 80. We tried it a couple times. We tried it twice. 78. It's not trading much into that. Trying again. 80. And then boom, look at that right there. We had some aggressive buyers lift this thing above 82, which doesn't really mean much, but what matters is how aggressive it's going to continue or not. Now watch this. 83, 84, 85. Look how aggressively this thing gets pushed up. So they're hitting into that. 89. So we traded all the way under 80, not for very long. There wasn't much supply down there. And then we quickly traded back up into the higher 80s. If we want to see the selling continue, we need to see aggressive sellers. Are we going to see aggressive sellers? So look at how it reacts on the downtick. There's a bit of a size accumulating here around the 85s, 86s. And we're slowly trading higher. Okay, there's the sellers come back. And again, look at that. You saw that one right there was a good example where we traded under these 85s, these 84s. And look at that. Not much size hit into that just now. We just kind of tagged it and then came right back up to 86. That's a sign that the sellers are not being aggressive at all. And then that's just me scrolling the wheel. Look at the price, 88, 89, 90. And I messed up here, but look, 91. And we're hitting into higher prices now. Look at that. Offers are getting swept. 91.50. And we're trading higher. Look at that. That's, again, the aggressive buyers are back. They are back. 95. Can they push it higher? Boom, look at that. All the way back up to 400. So there your aggressive buyers coming back, and you can see them on the tape right here. Starting from 81, you saw these block buys come in here. 81, 84, 88, 98, and 400. All these block buys here, pretty big size, coming in on those offers to sweep those offers. Now, this is the kind of stuff you want to see to give yourself directional bias generally. Okay, so I just showed you an example of the first 10 minutes of trading, guys. And yeah, if you enjoyed this video, leave a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. And we'll probably post more videos like this soon. Take care. Bye.